Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho back with another video. Let's talk about this amplifier that I couldn't stop listening to. Honestly, I had to make myself stop so I could actually make this review. So this is the Audio WA22 second generation. This is a fully balanced amplifier that's class A that also has a transformer coupled. And this also has all the balance ports in the front, but you can also have it single-ended. And the best part about this is you can actually use this as a preamplifier. So you can connect this to your speakers. So I actually tested it in both of these scenarios. So my dad has a lot of speaker stuff, so I like to listen to with him. We tested a bunch of different gear, different DACs and amps. And we use this as a preamplifier into his Krell S300, I believe, into the Revel M22. So this was kind of a great experience to kind of listen to on speakers, but I also tested this with headphones as well. So I tested with the Abyss Diana MR, which is a really great pairing, very, very detailed. And then we also have the FIO FT5, which is a planar. This also has a lot of kind of bass, a lot of richness, and I feel like it doubles down on that like warm flavor that you get with tubes. So that was a really enjoyable experience as well. But this tube amplifier adds a lot of character to your music, and I think that's what stands out a lot about it. And it made me kind of want to re-listen to all my music over and over again. Songs that I listened to like over 100 times sound different with this, because this definitely had the added kind of tube flavor that really kind of excelled and made my music sound so much better. So let's talk about it. Taking a closer look at this amplifier, it's pretty simple, honestly. You have the volume dial on the left, which you can control the volume. You have the left and right balance. You have the kind of stereo one, so it combines the left and right. Then you have a 1/4-inch headphone, and then you can turn on to high Z, low Z, and then you have preamplifier, and then obviously off. So you can turn it off right there. So taking a look at the back, we have the power, you have the right and left preamp outputs. Then you have your audio inputs right here, left, right, and then balance as well. And then you can also flip the switch to unbalance. So it's pretty simple, honestly. So let's talk about power and sound, right? So the power of this puts out 1.5 watts into 32 ohms. So this makes it a very powerful amplifier, especially for a tube amplifier. So it could definitely run all your hard drive headphones, like my Diana MR. Obviously it's easier to drive than their previous iterations, but I still consider it requiring more power than basically most of my headphones, except for my HE6 SE V2. And this definitely can power it. Now, the other thing that's really cool about this is how good it sounds, right? So when it comes to sound, this has that tube flavor that is most tube flavor I've heard in any amplifier so far. And the way I would describe it is you definitely get all this treble detail that the Woo Audio is kind of known for. I think the tube amplifiers are very resolving, but it has that layer of tube warmth on the treble. So the treble really becomes, I feel like a lot of the upper mid-range seems less forward and less in your face type of sounding. It sounds a little bit more kind of laid back a little bit right there, a little bit more smoother and easier to listen to. That's definitely one of the characters I noticed a lot on this one, even compared to my smaller tube amps. This one definitely is more relaxed there, but you can still hear all the treble detail, which is really good. But I feel like that added smoothness just makes it a lot easier to listen to and less fatiguing, making this a little bit more like a chill type of vibe if you're kind of listening for like a long time, which is really cool. And then when it gets to kind of the bass, I think the bass of this kind of blooms a little bit like most tube amplifiers, that gives it added like kind of like mid bass type of warmth to it, which is really nice to listen to. But it still has that like kind of speed, that punch, but maybe it doesn't have as much as like a solid state, but it definitely has that quality. And I feel like this has this kind of, I want to call it like a dream-like type of sound, but like basically the elements and the sound seem a little bit more blended together, and they seem the transients seem just a little slower, and it gives us a nice like comforting kind of listening, because it just feels like you're more, I guess, more chill, more relaxed while you listen to it, and it makes the music a lot more, I guess, easygoing, enjoyable. Is the type of like vibe it gives when I listen to it, which is pretty cool. And you know, the thing about tube amplifiers versus solid states kind of reminds me of like photography, and it comes to like, you know, lenses. And so like this is a 50mm 1.2. It's really small. Modern glass is like 10 times bigger and it's a lot heavier. This is actually a manual focus lens that's my grandpa's actually, and I inherited from him. And a lot of people talk about older lenses having like more character, and that's kind of how I feel about this versus like modern lenses are a lot more like clinical and like a lot sharper and stuff. But people really like the older look because of that character. And I feel like that's the same thing with tubes. They have this nice character to it that honestly, a lot of it has to do with preference. If you like it, that sounds different. And that difference is like so much to the point where like I want to listen to songs I've listened to like 100 times, right? Because they sound different and I'm experiencing it a little bit different, you know, for my 101st time, which is really cool. Because then that's pretty much how I ended up just kept listening to this through my whole entire playlist, because I want to hear all these songs and what they sounded like. So one of the songs that sounded really good was Late Night Thoughts by Shy Martin. That song had like a lot of like layering on top of the vocals, so there's like the main and then a lot of stuff around it. I feel like when tracks have a lot of layering on this, it kind of emphasizes that and gives it a lot of like tonal density is the best way to describe it. But you hear a lot more of like the reverberations because of like the harmonics, I think, and it makes the music just sound what people call more rich, more lush. It just sounds like there's a lot more like room information. It's like listening to music in like a smaller room where there's a little bit more like reverberations from the music bouncing around. And that's kind of how it feels when I'm listening to it on these tubes. And so all that layering in that song just sounds so amazing, and it just sounds so tonally dense, which is the best way to describe that experience. And that's kind of what I was like chasing or listening to from every single song because of that. And I think that's that extra kind of character flavor that adds to the music that I really enjoy off of this tube amplifier. And I think that's what makes it stand out the most to me personally. And I feel like that just gives the mid-range just like so much like life and energy because of all of that tonal density. But really, those are the things that I think are really good about this amplifier. So let's talk about some cons about this amplifier. I would say this is heavy. Obviously, you can see that it's made of aluminum. It's huge. It's just like really well made, but it also makes it heavy. So if you're not strong enough, this is definitely going to be a little bit harder to move around. Kind of reminds me of like moving my dad's like speaker stuff with him. And yeah, it's definitely heavy. The other thing is this is probably one of the biggest amplifiers I've seen. Obviously, because you could use it with speakers as well, it is a little bit bigger as well. So it'll take up a little bit more desk space if you're trying to use it as a headphone amplifier. But yeah, that's basically my conclusion. This is a really enjoyable amplifier that I couldn't stop listening to. And I honestly hope you guys have a chance to kind of listen to this as well, because it really does sound that good. Honestly, Woo Audio, when I listen to their stuff at CanJam, the WA23, which I guess is their newer model of this, or the next model name, that thing sounded absolutely amazing. And that's what kind of, you know, captured me about this brand and their sound. You know, I gotta thank Woo Audio for sending this out for me to review. Obviously, I had to send this back, which I'm going to be really sad to do so, but that is what it is. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe down below. Helps my videos out. I made other reviews on their WA7, I think the Fireflies, as well as Diana MR, if you want to check out those reviews. I also have reviews of the FT5, so definitely check those out. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.